What would drive a teenager to heinous murder? We're talking about the case of Mukim Khan. Now, 19-year-old Amir Sheikh, one of the accused in the kidnapping and murder of a teenager in Mumbai, has been remanded to 2 weeks custody. 18-year-old college student Mukim Khan's body was found in the suburbs of Mumbai 3 days after he was kidnapped. He went missing on Friday when he went out with his two friends, Amir and Sarfaraz, who kidnapped him and through an anonymous call demanded 2 lakh rupees. When a police complaint was filed, the kidnappers, fearing detection, allegedly killed Mukim, disposed of his body in the mangroves of Vakola in suburban Mumbai. But it's not about just one case of murder. In April 1999, the small suburban town of Littletown in the United States was shaken when 2 teens opened fire in the Columbine High School. So macabre was the plot that the teenage duo first planted bombs in the school and then waited outside with firearms to shoot at the fleeing students.
2 students from the small suburban town of Littletown, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. On 20th April 1999, they unleashed carnage in Columbine High School in the middle of the day. With guns, knives and bombs, the 2 boys walked the hallways, killing their fellow students. 12 students and 1 teacher was killed, and then the killer duo turned the guns on themselves. Harris and Klebold, both just 18, were outcasts at their school and were frequent targets of bullying at Columbine. The incident shocked the nation and the world as everyone asked, why did they do it? The Columbine massacre changed the way the society looked at children and its schools. Violence was no longer just an after-school, inner-city activity. It could happen anywhere. Bureau Report, Times Now.
The 1999 Columbine High School shootout set off a chain of events. Over the next few years, in the United Kingdom, in the United States, and even in Canada, one saw a number of shootouts, one copying the other. The Canada school shootout had a 16-year-old victim shot at by 4 gunmen. Luckily for the victim, he survived to tell the tale.
It was a schoolyard fight which turned dangerous. The end result, a shooting spree. The victim was 16-year-old Tymon Moore. On 17 September 2008, Moore was approached by 4 men and confronted with a gun outside his high school in Toronto. During a struggle to take control of the weapon, several shots rang out in the vicinity of the school, with one striking Moore in the chest. Worried parents milled around the school waiting for their kids to be released, several of them reduced to tears. Moore underwent surgery at the hospital and survived the shooting. But it was the first time an incident like this had occurred in Canada. Bureau Report, Times Now.
The Columbine High School shootout was just the beginning of a series of bloody killings that began to take place on college campuses with alarming regularity. But one that everyone remembers is the Virginia Tech massacre, for the simple reason that it had the largest number of casualties. 33 souls fell prey to a hail of bullets. It was carried over 2.5 hours. And weeks later, it was discovered that the perpetrator of the crime was mentally unstable.
It was one of the deadliest shooting rampages in the history of the United States. 33 people killed on the campus of the Virginia Tech. The killer, 23-year-old Cho Seung-hui. In the first attack, 2 people were shot and killed at the dormitory. But that was not all. Over 2.5 hours later, 31 others, including the gunmen, were shot across the campus in a classroom building. Fellow classmates and teachers described Cho Seung-hui as dark, demented, and a sullen loner. His plays written for a creative writing class were the most disturbing.
Upon arrival to Norris, the officers found the front doors barricaded. Within a minute, the officers breached the doors, which had been chained shut from the inside. Once inside the building, the officers heard gunshots. They followed the succession of gunshots to the 2nd floor. Just as officers reached the 2nd floor, the gunshots stopped. The officers discovered the gunman who had taken his own life. There was never any engagement between the responding officers and the gunman.
Only later did it emerge that Cho was mentally ill and had undergone therapy. His primary grouse was that he was ignored on the college campus. fact that councillors of Virginia Tech wished they had discovered before. Bureau Report, Times Now.
And it's a sick story that repeats itself again and again, the latest incident being in Finland. In fact, the child, the teenager who did the crime, put out a YouTube video saying he would. It shocked the country, which didn't have a history of gun violence before this.
This was a chilling warning from Matti Juhani Rani, a student at a vocational college in Finland. September 2008. Matti, dressed in black and white, wearing a ski mask, was seen entering the building with a large bag. Shots were fired soon after. As the police arrived, the gunman remained at large within the college grounds, where he had killed 9 students and then shot himself. Eerily enough, though, the gunman had posted a video of himself on the internet just a week earlier, firing a gun. It was the first time a massacre of this kind had taken place in Finland, a nation with a large number of gun licenses. It was déjà vu, reminding the world of the Virginia Tech massacre, a senseless crime with no apparent motive. Officials realizing too late that the students suffered from depression and mental instability. With Bureau Inputs, Alistair D'Souza, Times Now.
There was always a perception that these campus shootouts took place in the Western world and not here. But now, with the latest case of Mokim Khan, it's clear that teen violence is closer to home. Thank you for watching the show this evening. Stay tuned. News are up next.